We are on. This is Dina with a Y and Melinda.
I'm the fool.
And we are here to give you guys a recap of a new series on Hulu called Reasonable Doubt. It is brought to us by Onyx Collective, which is a new Walt Disney company that is geared toward people of color and underrepresented communities.
Yep.
So the show itself is executive produced by Kerry Washington of Scandal fame. And Larry Wilmore is also a producer, executive producer. And we know Larry Wilmore he wrote for Insecure, The Office, The PJs. He produced the Bernie Mac show back in the day. So, it's definitely set up for success. Raamla Mohamad is also a writer, and she's the showrunner. And she wrote for Scandal. And she also did Little Fires Everywhere. Did you see that?
No, I didn't.
That was Kerry Washington and, oh my God, what's her name? It's escaping me. Bend and Snap.
What is that?
I can't, but what's her name? Oh my God, I can't believe I can see her face. Oh my gosh. Her little dog was Boomer. Reese Witherspoon.
There we go.
Reese Witherspoon. So this show completely knocked me off my socks.
Definitely.
I feel like from beginning to end, I was on the edge of my seat. I watched it like 5 times because I felt like every time I went back, there was something that I missed the first time or something toward the end that made more sense or something toward the beginning that made more sense at the end. Like,
definitely.
oh, okay.
Definitely.
So it's set in LA. And it is around a high-powered attorney. So it's kind of like Scandal. Like they had based the show off of an actual person, like the actual Olivia Pope in DC,
okay.
right? So this person is Sean Hawley, who's this attorney that they based the show on. I didn't find too much about Sean Hawley, but I'll get some more information about her maybe for the next episode. But so our main character is Jacqueline Stewart, right? Jax, as she's called. And she's played by Emayatsi Karinialdi. I hope I'm pronouncing her last name correctly.
I don't know, but it sounds like a delicious dish.
And she's a delicious dish.
Definitely.
She is. She's absolutely gorgeous. Body incredible, beautiful. She's an amazing actress. She is this multifaceted character, right? So she's super
Definitely
intelligent. She has this high power job. She's a partner at this, prestigious law firm in LA, right? But at the same time, she's like your homegirl.
She held my attention. I was intrigued. I wanted more.
Absolutely. And I love that everything about this show is Black. It's just
Definitely.
It's just the Black experience, and it's the Black experience from our perspective. It's not what white writers think our perspective is. I was watching some interviews with the producers, and one thing that I took notes here, one thing that Larry Wilmore said, it was like he wants to tell the show how we see things. There's no translation.
Exactly. I love that. So if you don't know how we talk to each other, you just don't know. But I mean, it's for us.
It's for us, and I love it. And I just love that Jax, she's so real. It's like she's not the perfect mother. She's not the perfect wife. She's not the perfect employee. She's not the perfect daughter. Like, it's just she is a person.
She's Jax.
And it's like she has so many things going on in her life as we, enter it. It's just incredible. She's just so, her dimensions are so deep And it's just so real. Like, you can absolutely relate to her, whether you're a professional, whether you're a mom, a parent,
Yeah.
you're going to find a way to be able to relate to her, the issues she deals with her job, with her kids, at home, her dynamic with her friends.
Definitely.
I really feel like everybody's going to be able to relate to her. And even people that aren't Black, but definitely people that are
Definitely.
100% going to be able to relate to Jax. So we also see her husband, Lewis, who is played by McKinley Freeman.
Lewis.
Good old Lewis. Lewis is interesting, another interesting character, because Lewis is a total control freak, but he doesn't think he is. Which, again, very relatable, I think, for some of us.
He's very silently screaming, "I'm a man."
Yes, he is. He is 100% doing that. And we enter into their lives as they're going through this trial separation, right? And they're trying to hold it together for the kids. They're still going to church on Sundays together as a family, and Lewis is, again, with the control, with the trying to put his foot down. The reason that they're separated is because he gave her an ultimatum: the job or me.
Yeah, well, Lewis got this ball rolling.
And I'm like, what makes you feel like it's cool? Now, this will, again, we're not talking about a first year law student. We're not talking about someone who has just, got her license and is just getting out there, and, you guys are getting married, and now you want her to play this role, this 1950s role of mom and wife.
Yeah, she's not in a dead-end job.
But she is, not only is she an attorney, she has also been a public defender. So she's worked her way up. She's worked her ass off to be a partner. And we see her at the table with the other partners. Everyone's white. She's the only Black woman. There's one other woman at the table, but she's the only Black woman in her firm.
Why doesn't Lewis respect this? Why isn't he proud of this?
Why are you not supporting your wife? Why are you trying? And I get it. I can only imagine how busy she is. But we're all busy, right? We all make time for the things that we want. But whatever time she was making apparently wasn't enough for Lewis.
If she was at soccer games and football games, it'd be different.
But she'd still not be at home.
But I don't think it'd be a problem for him, because she'd be with the kids. He'd know where she was.
And he'd be controlling. She wouldn't have the power.
Mm-hmm.
So Lewis is a game designer. So it seems just from, well, he definitely likes playing games. And he's losing right now, but that's a whole nother, we'll get there. So he's a gaming designer, and it looks like they're very well to do, not just from Jack's salary. It looks like he's, both of them are very well to do.
Nobody's struggling. So
no one's
finance
struggling.
isn't
Absolutely
weighing on a marriage.
It's good. But this looming, mirror the job thing is really, and it seems like it's really tearing Jax apart. She doesn't want to be separated from her husband. She doesn't want this at all. But at the same time, she wants her career. Why can't she have her career? And you knew this. We're not talking about you've been in this for 2 years.
Once again, if the roles were reversed, it would be acceptable.
100%. And so they have 2 kids, Spencer and Naima. And Spencer's older. Spencer, what do you think? He's like maybe 13-ish, 12-ish, 13-ish,
13,
maybe 14.
Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, and Naima's maybe somewhere between 8 and 10.
Yeah, I'd say that's good.
And, Naima is just, cute. She wants to do her TikToks with her mom, and,
all about mom.
Mommy's beautiful, and, what have you. And Spencer is really having a hard time, obviously, with the separation. Spencer has chosen sides. He has, drawn his stick in the sand, and he's obviously chosen his dad. He's starting to disrespect his mom. And, you know, she sees it and she's trying to call it out to his dad. And he's like, you know, he's just going through something. He'll be fine, which I feel like is another level of control.
Yeah, it is. Because he sees it happening.
Exactly.
And he could cut it off. He could stop it.
Exactly. But he's choosing not to. He's
hoping it would force her.
There you go.
Leave her job.
100%. 100%. I love the fact, so we come in on the Sunday, right? They're on their way to church. And I love the fact that they're on their way to church and Jax calls her son an asshole. I love it so much because it's so real, right?
It is.
I can't tell you how many times I've called my son an asshole. Obviously not to his face. And she didn't either. She's, you know, saying it to her husband. But it's just, again, it's super real. And I love it. I love it to death.
I have an asshole. So, I mean, you're a parent. You know which of your kids is the asshole.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And Spencer is really giving her the business right now. So that's yet another dynamic that, you know, she's struggling with on top of the separation, on top of, you know, her stress and drama at work and what have you. So then at work, we see her interacting with she has her assistant who is Crystal. That's played by Angela Grovey. So Angela, yes. Angela, we think Angela's gay. We're not sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna go that way.
We think she is, but she's plus size. Angela is what seems like more than just her assistant. She seems kind of like a little bit of a voice of reason at times.
Definitely.
I think they definitely care for each other. I think they love each other.
They do. They have good chemistry.
Absolutely. And I think they respect each other, which is super important too. But Angela, she's a little bit of comedy relief. She, at one point she tells, Jax that she has, you know, she had this phone call from her former client.
Did you just call Crystal Angela?
Did I say Angela?
Yes, you did.
Well, that's her real name. So Crystal. So Crystal, she's telling Jax that she had a call from her old client when she was a public defender, Damon Cook, who's played by Michael Ealy. And she says, yeah, she's like, you know, I'm not into guys, but he's giving prison babe vibes. It's super cute. So we definitely like Crystal. I think she's gonna really, come into play a little bit more as we get into the series some more. So Damon Cook.
He's giving vibes no matter what role he's playing.
Ealy. he's just so intense. Like if I just had to use one word to describe him, everything he's in, he's intense.
That is definitely one black man I watch.
Oh yeah. So you guys, Melinda's she has a thing for our light skinned brothers, and I don't mean the light skinned brothers. I mean she has a thing for white guys, which, you know, okay, it is what it is.
Right.
But if she is feeling Michael Ealy, everybody should be feeling Michael Ealy because he's just so intense. It's like I don't even think I think the eyes give the extra. But even without, I think if it was just brown eyes, I would feel the same way.
God forgive me. He could be a serial killer and I'd be like, oh.
And he played, oh my gosh, I forget the name of the movie, but he did a movie with Sanaa Lathan and Morris Chestnut where he was the bad guy. He was a bad guy. And he did such a good job. Like I never saw him as a bad guy because he was always a good guy. He was always the savior, you know, the one that came along and swept you off your feet. But here, so he's in prison. I don't know if he was her first case, but he was one of her earlier cases when she was a public defender.
Yeah, he wasn't the first, but he meant the most.
Right.
He stood out.
Right. So we're seeing that she reluctantly goes to visit him at his request. And we're seeing him pretty much say, look, I'm just gonna cop out. I'm just gonna
done.
say I
I
did
gotta
it.
get out of here.
I need to get out of here. I've been here for 16 years. And basically, it feels like he's saying, I've been thinking about you the whole time. What could we have been if I didn't come to jail? What would we have been if things didn't go the way they went? And it just really seems like, he's been pining away for her for 16 years.
Other murderers have gone to jail for less time. Like
Right?
16 years is a lot.
And she's like, no, she got really emotional at one point. And I don't know, I didn't understand why, and I still don't yet understand why she got so upset with him. Like, don't say that you did this thing that you didn't do. Don't say that you murdered this man
and you didn't do it
when you didn't do it.
But I think that's got a lot to do with her credibility. Like she fought so hard to prove that he was innocent,
Right.
And he's just going to give it all up. But
Yeah,
she didn't have to serve that
16
time.
years,
Exactly.
right. And that's his thing. He's like, the only way I'm going to get out of here is by saying I did it. The only way I can get paroled is if I say that I did it and I, show remorse and, what have you. And she was like, if you do it, I'll never fucking speak to you again. So that's one thing we didn't mention. Yeah, there's cussing and carrying on in here. So, but she got so intense in that moment that I don't know. I'm just like, so do you not want him to get out? Like, it's been 16 years. And he's saying, she's like, well, what if some information comes up and proves that you didn't do it? And he's like, I've been waiting for it. I've been waiting for 16 years.
All of a sudden she's got information that could come. 16 years?
So that's what I think. He's like, I've been waiting. I've been waiting for that information, and there's nothing. No, there's nothing's happening.
He's been waiting. On that note, the show opens with her tied to a chair.
Right. So we can talk about that. That's how it opens. She's tied to a chair. Somebody has a gun to her head. And, that it's a la Scandal, right?
Yep.
So it's like this big, what's happening? What is it? Who's tied her to the chair? Does she really die? Like, you hear a gunshot, but you don't know if she's shot. You don't know, we don't know. But who has her tied to the chair? Like, there's so many things going on. And I really, I don't know. I'm kind of feeling like it might be him. I kind of feel that way, but...
Okay, but we didn't even get to this yet about the sex with the other dude. It could be the husband also. Think about it.
Could be.
I won't say anything. He's a control freak.
Totally. And he's not getting what he wants right now. He's not getting what he wants, so... Well, I guess we'll see as we move forward. So we talked about Damon. We talked about Crystal. So let's talk about her new client, Braden Miller. So Braden Miller is played by Sean Patrick Thomas. We know him from Save the Last Dance. I think that's the biggest thing that we've known him for. Of course, he's done other things, but I kind of feel like everything he's in, he's a dick. I kind of feel that way, and he plays a good dick. I wonder.
Apparently, he's getting a good dick too.
Apparently. So he has this former coworker by the name of, where's her name? Kalisha Moore. So she was his executive second in command, and he comes into the offices of our girl Jax, and he's like, well, my brand is about to do this thing and I could be a billionaire. And she's like, oh, it's so dope, and won a few black men. And he's just really, their dynamic is so off. Like, she's trying to, hey brother, what's up? And he's giving her I don't
you're
know
not
what
on
you're
the same side of the fence as I am.
Not on my level. Yes. And she picked up on it immediately. So she's having this chat with him and with one of the partners, Rich. And we'll talk about Rich in a second too. And he's just giving her nasty, I'm better than you, looking down on her vibes like she's some, little hood trollop or something. Meanwhile, again, where are you? Like, you realize that you're in a law office speaking with a partner. Like, she's a partner. She's not just a litigator. She's a partner.
She's a woman. I think
and she's a woman and she's Black. And I
probably
really
with
feel
women
like,
in charge.
absolutely. So his former employee, Kalisha, they obviously had an affair. Kalisha's married. He's married to a white woman. I'm sure that's going to come into play later on because they made it a point to talk about that as well. And apparently something happened, and she's saying that something happened between them where he sexually assaulted her. And his stance is that, everything between them was consensual. But she started, catching feelings, whatever it is. And he had to let her go.
I want to hate Kalisha. I wanted to not believe her. And for what it's worth, he was married. You knew what it was. He wasn't going to leave his wife. You weren't going to move up in the company.
Absolutely.
You were just some ass.
Yeah, you were convenient. You were convenient ass and probably good ass.
And I'm sure there was definitely, she's another attorney. She has a law degree. So I'm sure that too attracted him to her. But we see how he think about Black women.
Exactly. I was going to say, no, I don't think that I think the fact that she's intelligent and she obviously knew her shit, for him to hire her and give her that opportunity, it strikes me as odd because of how he was treating Jax.
Yeah.
I wouldn't expect him to have done that. So I'm really interested in some more of the backstory on their relationship. But when we meet Kalisha, she comes into the office to get this non-disclosure agreement signed. $12 million he was willing to give her to not speak on him at all.
If he was smart, he would have done that before he started sleeping with her.
There you go. You have a point.
You this big man. You looking down on all women. You want to screw around. You should have had a sign before you even started.
He's got that complex. I don't know if it's Napoleon or God, but he has a complex. And he probably felt like, I'm doing her a favor. She's getting a piece of me. So he probably never even considered that. But I don't think that he considered also the fact that she wasn't going to go for it. So she doesn't go for it. She ends up not signing the agreement because she's like, no, he's a fucking liar. Like, he's a liar. And, no, tell him no.
He's an idiot because she wasn't just some low-level secretary.
Absolutely.
He's an idiot.
Absolutely. So she leaves. She's with her cousin. She brought her cousin along. And not that she needed her. The cousin was there for moral support. Cousin's a little hood, which, okay, cool.
Thanks,
you got to bring your cousin along, when it's going down, right? So
everybody's got that cousin.
So they're leaving. And Jax wasn't there because he didn't want her there. Braden, he didn't want her. Remember?
That's right.
Yeah, he didn't want her involved. He didn't like her. He wasn't feeling her energy. So she's like, all right, that's what's up. Whatever.
Do you?
And so as Kalisha and the cousin are leaving after she tears up the NDA, she kind of bumps into Jax coming off the elevator. They have a little moment. And then Kalisha's like, oh, you're Jacqueline Stewart. And she's like, yeah. And Kalisha's like, well, next time a Black woman says that she was assaulted, show the fuck up.
For real. Jackson think that she thought that was going to be some kind of, oh, I've heard of you.
Right.
You do good work. Yeah, that caught off guard.
And she goes through this internal breakdown. And we're like, what the hell is wrong with her? Like, why is she having this moment? Like, it looked like she lost her breath. She ran to her
panic
office.
attack.
Right. It was like she was having a full-on panic attack. went into her office, went to the bathroom, like she threw up. Like, what the hell
Didn't
was
make
that?
sense. I
We
mean,
had
this is
no
Jax.
clue what was going on. Right. Super strong, super, whatever. And we're like, what the hell happened? So, okay. So let's pause on there. So let's talk a little bit more about, so Daniel. So Daniel is her investigator. So she has this
Poor Dan.
private investigator. He's so freaking adorable.
He is
Daniel is played by Tim
He's
Joe.
adorable.
He's super cute, Asian, and he's the person that her go-to person for information. So he finds out everything that she needs to know. She has another client that she's working with who, from her own words, has, the Instagram
IG
thought. The IG thought who is trying to shake down this ball player for money. So he gets information on her and, Jack stops her in the tracks or whatever. But now she wants him to get information on Kalisha. So, we see him kind of going through it. And
yeah, but I mean, what about they met at a club? He invited you back to the hotel.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think was going down?
It's so crazy because just the simple thought that when her attorney calls Jax while she's at church, right? And he's like, okay, so my client met your client at a party. Okay. He invited her back to the hotel. Okay. He exposed himself. Okay. She ran out. Okay. Did he stop her? No. Did he force her to touch him? No. So where's the crime?
Where's the crime?
Just the simple fact that somebody showed you their penis just because he's a ball player with money. Now he should give you some? Come on. Like, it was the most ridiculous shit ever. And it's crazy to think that these things happen all the time. And we never know because NDAs and because they just pay them to go away and be quiet.
Okay, well, if these idiots would stop. I mean, she's running after you. She's throwing herself at you. You're in the club. Come on, man. You know you're a famous person.
Yes. She's throwing her BBL at you, and you are taking it. You are taking it, and now look at you. But anyway, Jax was able to get him off too. And let's talk about
for
Richard.
A trip.
Right, she
got caught out there for a trip.
Stupid. So Jax makes him text her from his phone saying, "Oh, I'll take you on an all expense paid trip." And then she's like, "Oh yeah, you should have started there. You would have saved the drama." And it's like, yeah, so now you're busted as the thought that you are, and now you get nothing, and he's the victim, not you. So I like the fact that they have a situation where, in one situation, the girl is a victim, and then one situation, she's not.
She's not. And that's the real world.
And that is the real world, absolutely. But I love that. Let's talk about Richard for a second. Rich, bitch. So Richard Reed is Jack's partner, one of the partners at the firm. He's kind of sexy. I'm kind of feeling rich.
I'm happy to hear you say that.
He is. He's kind of sexy. And I feel like he has Jack's back. I feel like he is not, he's younger, right? So they look like they're probably about the same age, whereas all the other partners look like they're at least 20 years older than them.
And he actually shows the respect to Jack.
Completely.
He actually treats her that way.
Completely.
Talks
I feel
to her
like
like he respects her.
100% treats her like an equal.
Yeah.
And she's missing that at home. So there's all kinds of clips and stuff all over. And I saw a clip where they definitely do get a little entanglement going on.
Tango.
I'm interested in seeing where that goes. But yeah, and then there's the scene where he goes to Brayden to tell him that Kalisha is not taking the NDA, and Brayden says, "Oh, I guess the other one was the other. What did he call her? I guess. What did he say? He said something like, "Oh, I guess that the other one was right."
Yeah, the other one.
And he's like, who? And
Wait,
he's
didn't he say
like,
the black one?
he said, yeah, he said the other lawyer, the black
The
one.
black one.
And he's like, her name is Jack Stewart. Like he was like, settle down, give her the respect she deserves.
For real.
And I like that. So I guess we'll see more about Rich later. But there is a scene where one of her girlfriends calls him bitch. Like we call him bitch. So I'm sure it was maybe a little tumultuous in the beginning of their relationship, but I guess we'll see that. So let's talk about her friends.
I was about to say, speaking of bitch,
Yes.
we completely skipped the whole lunch.
So yeah, so there's a scene where she's going to lunch, well, breakfast it looked like, because she was like, oh, I'm tired, and they're like, well, you're the one that got us out here early. So she has this group of friends, 3 of them, and again, the dynamics are it's so funny because you have these friendships. It's like you have the friend that's a pain in the ass. You know,
Yeah.
you have the friend that's, there for you, that's been supporting you since school, like us. You have the friend that's been your friend for 30 years that you trust immensely with everything. And, then you have the newcomers and the ones that, you're like, So the one friend, first of all, I just love their dynamic. So it's this group of intelligent, beautiful, well-dressed, well-spoken Black women, but at the same time, they're real. One is a doctor,
Completely.
one is an attorney. We're not sure what the other 2 do yet, but
Well, the other one is clearly a housewife.
well, so Chanel, right? So Chanel definitely gives me basketball wives,
Definitely.
housewives vibes. She looks, I'm assuming they're all the same age, but she looks a little bit older. She looks super thin. She has the huge wig. That's clearly a wig.
Because she's the only one that's talking with her hands.
Right. And she's giving trophy wife vibes to me. And, she's got on this little bustier and, whatever, and her little ripped jeans and blah, blah, blah. But the dynamic with her, it's a little rocky with Jax. And it just seems like she's trying to make Jax feel like she should just forgive her husband and just move on. Like, whatever it takes. He's a good man, blah, blah, blah. Like,
She's Jack's friend, but they're not in the same boat.
At all.
Your
And then
husband-
we even find out her husband. So the scene, right? Jax is like, all right, y'all, what are we eating? What are y'all eating? Because I got to get to work. I got back-to-back meetings, whatever. And Chanel was like, well, my husband is eating another one of pussy. So, okay. Excuse me.
Guess that trophy's dull.
The trophy needs a little shining. So Jax is on it like, you have, you're staying with a cheating husband. Like, how are you trying to give me relationship
Marital
advice?
Please.
And she's just really on it like, oh, Louis is so wonderful. Louis is this, Louis is that. You should make it work. I don't trust Chanel. I feel like,
Why is everybody big up in Louis?
because
Everybody but the woman that knows him.
because Louis is a charmer and a master manipulator.
Definitely.
A master manipulator. Louis is that guy who, behind closed doors, is trying to control everything and trying to make you feel like you're crazy and you're the bad guy. And outside, everyone loves him. Everyone gravitates to him. He's got that magnetic personality. But in the meantime, you're miserable and super unhappy.
Completely.
He even said to her, what was the line he said to her? If I don't give you ultimatums, you don't listen.
If I don't threaten you.
If I don't threaten you.
You don't listen.
You don't listen. What the hell? What am I, a child? So
Those walls know a whole lot.
Their dynamic is crazy. It's because it's like they're best friends. But at the same time, like, how do you give an ultimatum to me to choose my job or you? This job that I've busted my ass for. Or you. And then if you don't threaten me, I don't listen.
Like, I'm not a child.
Huh?
Like, what type of relationship do you think we have?
Oof.
Once again,
So
a man, I'm your property.
I'm very, very interested to see more about their history and you know, just what that's about, like how they got together, just like everything, because you would think if you get married and what you want is a housewife.
All the men in Jack's life
Mm-hmm.
treat her the same. They're all trying to control her. They all see her as, you're just the woman. Work, her husband, the clients. She is fighting everywhere to prove herself.
And she shouldn't have to, considering what she has become and who she has become. She shouldn't have to, but she is, and that's the constant struggle.
That's
right?
the problem at home. I have to go through this every day at work. My partners, my male clients, I have to keep constantly proving myself. And I have this husband at home telling me, well, you need to choose your job or me. So, I mean, she can't even talk to him.
So unfair. Right.
Because she already knows this man doesn't have her back when it comes
just
to
leave.
work.
Just quit, because that's all he's going to say. Just quit. You don't need it. You don't need it.
She is not Betty Homemaker.
Oh, that's not going to work at all. And speaking of the manipulation again, so she gets drunk with her one girlfriend, Sally, who's a doctor, right? And then she's emotional. So she goes to her husband's house because the kids are there. And she's like, I want to see my kids. You know, she's having her moment. She's having her drunk moment. And she's like, I want to see my kids. And he's like, you're drunk and, you know, come on, just talk to me. So they get in the car, you know, and they're having this conversation. And she, again, is feeling like, you know, she's saying to him, he says, I love you. And she's, you know, I love you. I know you love me and I love you, but do you know me? That hit home with me. Like, you can love me, but do you know me? And she's like, is it me that you want, or is it the idea of
Can't
me?
possibly
Is
be
it the
her.
idea of marriage that has you loving me?
Because
What
he's
is
still
it?
trying to make her into something else.
He's trying
So-
to get her to control. It's control.
You
It's
don't
control
love-
because he's got all the cameras in the house. Now that he's not there, he went out and hired Will, our neighborhood bodyguard, and we'll talk about Will in a minute.
The black elf. The black elf.
Will is cute. Leave his ears alone.
Where's the black elf?
So they're in the car and they're having this back and forth, and she's vulnerable, right? And so, you know, hand up the skirt, and, you know, he's pleasuring her. It was a very, very hot
And
scene.
it's her husband. Why would she
Right.
fight it? She
Absolutely
still wants
not.
her husband.
And so he's pleasuring her, but at the same time, he's in her ear with his bullshit. I can take care of you if you let me. I just want to make you come. That's what you want, right? I can take care of you. Slow down. Let me take care of you.
Only one of those statements was true.
Oh my gosh.
You want to come?
Like, you're
yes.
in her ear, giving her what she, because we didn't talk about, I feel like Jax, she's either a nympho, she has a sex addiction problem, or she's just freaky, which all of them are, it is what it is. But Jax is super sexual.
Girl.
Like, she's hypersexual.
Nympho.
When she-
boy, is she bad.
Like, it goes into, you know, it's this thing where, you know, she's running, right? Before she goes to church, she takes a shower. She's pleasuring herself with her little device in the shower. Now, you late for church. You just ran, but she still had to do that. So that was the first
That was her
cue
release.
that, you know, okay, all right, Jax, do your thing. And then there's a scene where they're having this argument, and she says to Lewis, I did not get married to sleep alone. Right? So it's like, okay, what's that about? And then when this scene happens, it's like, yeah, she's hypersexual. Like this is something that she needs and she craves, and he knows that. And I feel like he's using that again as yet another weaponized tool against
Definitely.
her.
Definitely.
How could you?
Definitely.
Why would you do that? It's control. He's
It
a
is
super
control.
control
How
freak.
many men would do that and not want to keep going?
Right, and then at the end, she's trying to kiss him. She comes to this amazing climax. I'm like, girl. And then she's trying to kiss him and keep going, and he just says goodnight.
TMI, had I been any more into that scene, I would have climaxed. No
It was
lie.
hot.
No lie.
Absolutely. It was a hot scene. And then
Whew.
he just says goodnight. Good night, Jax. Again, more control. You need to control every
Everything.
aspect of her. Really? Like, dude. So let's talk about Will. So Will is the security guard, the private security guard that her husband hired. And again, I think we talked about this a little bit. Now she got an attitude like, what do I need this dude here for? Like, we're good. But allegedly, because she has these high profile clients and these crazy fans, and they might find out where she lives, and he wants to make sure she's protected.
But why did he have to say all that in front of the kids?
Right.
Control, more control,
and manipulation.
and getting the kids on his side.
Absolutely.
Dad, why don't you just come home? You can protect us. More control.
Terrible. And so you see the dynamic between Jax and Will, and it's like there's the cigarette scene, right? So she's going in her room, she's stressed out, her son's being a little asshole, she goes to her room, puts the towel by the door, goes to the window with her little cigarettes, and she's smoking her little cigarette.
Don't forget, that little cigarette came from her stash under the bed.
Right, I thought she has weed. I thought she was about to pull out some weed. But no, she goes in her little secret stash of cigarettes. She's smoking out the window, and Will is down by the car and looks up and sees her, and she very sexily gives him the don't say anything, puts her finger up, and then he goes in his pocket, pulls out his cigarettes, and he gives her the back. And that was my first cue.
It was on the flirt.
It's about to be something there. The little dynamic is there. And then the next time when she gets home and she's stressed out and she can't sleep, she's telling him, she can't sleep and blah, blah, blah. And they had a little moment and she gives him a hug. And she exhaled. Ever since waiting to exhale, that exhale.
While her husband is trying to control her, she gets off on controlling these dudes.
Absolutely.
Because she controlled the black elf from the moment she met him.
The black elf. Will. He's cute. He does have little elf ears, but he's very cute.
She controlled that situation from the moment she met him.
Yeah, she did. She really did. She really did. And it's funny to me because she's having this interaction with him, hugging him, and telling him he was the best part of her day. So now that's mind fucking him. Wait, what? And then the whole time, Lewis is watching. Because he's got all these goddamn cameras. She smells good.
Felt good.
She body insane. So he's like, what the hell is this? What is going on? And then the next scene with Will is after her husband, gives her this pleasure and sends her off on her merry little way. She has another interaction with Will. And I think that sealed the deal. At least in my mind, I was like, oh, they're definitely going to get it on.
Sealed it. It sealed it.
And, he's smoking and she asks for a cigarette and she's just so sexy the way that she's holding the cigarette and lighting the cigarette and tells him to call me Jax. And, I was just like, yeah, she's definitely going to bang this dude. Definitely. There's no doubt in my mind. She could have had that dude do anything she wanted him to. Oh my goodness. And so finally, so before we get there, let's talk a little bit about her mom. So Her mom's name is Lou as well. I don't know if it's Louise or whatever, but it's Lou because the
Probably
husband's
Louise.
Lou, the mom's Lou,
Lou.
and they're each other's favorite Lou. So there's this scene where they go to the mom's house and they're celebrating her stepfather Paul's birthday, right? So she comes in, and then her mom is just making all these comments about, are you getting, you're doing right by your husband and blah, blah, blah. And again, the manipulation, and it's like reverse psychological manipulation, because Lewis doesn't say, she's giving me a hard time, blah, blah, blah. He says, oh, we're trying, but I'm stubborn. Like, again, it's all manipulation. It's all, and Jax is over everybody and everything. She walks away, and then he goes into, oh, where'd you get this hat from? Again, just that master manipulator, just keeping everybody totally in love with him.
Wrapped around his finger.
And meanwhile, she's like, I can't deal with him. And everybody's like, what's wrong with you? Lewis is amazing. So we see Jax go into the house, and we see her looking out the window at her stepfather.
Wait. Oh yeah, he did walk up. That's right.
And then she has all these emotions. And you caught something I didn't catch the first time.
Flashbacks of the woman who said, show the fuck up.
Kalisha. Yep.
And her stepfather.
And it's like she's going through in her mind, like you don't see the flashbacks, but in her mind, the way that things, like the whole happy birthday is happening, and it's like she's in slow motion, and she's like peering like at her stepfather, like looking at him like she can't stand him. And her daughter's there on his lap. And she's looking at him, and she's having those flashbacks, like you said, of Kalisha. And you said, like, damn, did he touch her? Did he do something to her? And then it was like, holy shit. That's why she reacted to Kalisha that way in the hallway. That's why she went to the bathroom and had a moment, because she's like, damn, nobody showed up for me either. And I did the same shit
to her.
That's why she had that moment.
Yeah.
So I think we're definitely going to see a bit more of that play out as things progress. But then she's completely overwhelmed, right? She's like to her husband, I got to go do some work, when that wasn't true.
So now
she
she's
just
the
needed
bad
to
guy
get away.
again,
right?
Because nobody knows what she's actually going through.
And I don't know if she told her mom and she didn't believe her. I don't think she did either. But
she probably didn't tell her because she didn't think she would believe her.
Right.
Her mother's old-fashioned.
Yep.
Oh, he's a man. He's taking care of you. You don't want for anything. Sweep everything else under the rug. I honestly get this vibe from her mother.
I agree.
And that's not good.
I totally agree. And clearly she hasn't told her husband, because I feel like if she had told her husband, there's no way that he would be there,
right?
Behaving like he was behaving, like everything's wonderful and family. So she has this whole moment. She leaves. And, he's like, oh, you're always going to put your job before your family and blah, blah, blah. And she is going through it. Like, you can see her face. And how do you not know your wife well enough to know her face?
Something is wrong. Something is really
this is not,
wrong.
Her face was saying, oh my God, someone help me. Someone rescue me. Her face looked like, she looked like a little girl who needed somebody to come save her. But he couldn't see that because he was too busy thinking about him and what he wanted and what she wasn't doing and what he couldn't control. So she leaves the party. She goes home. She's having her wine. She's on the couch, looking gorgeous as usual. This woman is so gorgeous.
I don't think she can have an ugly day.
Is so freaking gorgeous.
I don't think she can have an ugly day.
Oh my gosh, she's so beautiful. And she's there, and she's like now just out of, she's just chilling in her house shit. And the doorbell rings, and it's Will. And he's like, I just want to let you know it's my last day. They're having this conversation. And he says,
next time I can get you something stronger. Remember?
Right. He did say that. He did say that to
I'm like,
her.
it's your last day. And he's talking about next time.
Yes.
So
he's
they're both on the same page at this point. They're both on the same page.
Clearly. He's like, well, it's my last day. He's like, I hope the Ativan worked for you. Maybe next time I get you something stronger, like you said. And he had already said to her, she's like, well, why are you leaving? And he's like, I was arrested. I got in trouble. I was a kid. And you see this light in her eyes. And it's so funny because as these things are happening, simultaneously, Damon is getting out of prison. He's paroled, right? And he goes back to this letter from 2007 that she had written to him. And she's talking through, she was so sorry and she failed him and the system failed him and da-da-da. And she gets to the point at the end and she's like, I love criminals. And everything starts making sense. You go back to when she started working with, what's his name? Brayden. And Crystal's like, oh, he's an asshole. Oh, so you're definitely going to work with him.
Yes.
Right. It's like she just has this thing for criminals. And what is it? Where does it come from? I guess we're going to see it later.
It's a challenge to get them off or get them off.
Exactly. Because getting off is definitely Jax's thing. That is definitely her thing. So then we see her. Will is like, I can get you something stronger. And she's like, well, what did you have in mind? Next thing you know, she's doing a reverse cowboy on the damn couch. Oh my goodness. But she's looking into the camera
in the corner
where she knows her husband is watching her. So it's like, oh shit, she's a gangster, right? She knows her husband is watching and she's doing this shit. And the husband looks and he gets mad. But immediately then he doesn't. Then he gets into it. Mm-hmm. Then he has this smirk. She has this smile. Yeah. And I'm like, wait a minute. Hold on.
They both enjoy mind fucking
What
each
are we
other.
watching? What is going on? But are they swingers? Is this it's like a game of chess with them. It's so incredible. So apparently Will worked. Homegirl had a great night's sleep.
She went to sleep.
She finally gets some sleep. But then she wakes up in the morning to this call from Rich and Kalisha is dead. What the fuck? So that's how episode 1 ends. Did Brayden kill Talisha? Did Talisha kill her? Kalisha, did she kill herself?
Well, Brayden said he knew exactly what she needed.
Yes, he
Whether
did
she
say
wanted it or
that.
not, he was going to give it to her.
He was going to give it to her. That's what he told Rich. He was going to give it to her, whether she wanted it or not. Which
that could mean he's going to force her to take the money. There's going to have some more rough sex. Didn't necessarily mean he was going to kill her, but
she's dead.
She's dead.
And now what? So, girl, and this is only episode 1.
First episode.
So I'm so excited to see where everything goes. The dynamics between everyone. Like I said, the husband, wife, the friends. I swear that damn Chanel is gonna try something with Lewis. I swear, just because he's a good man. So. He's a good man. He's a good man. Bitch. Worry about your good
husband.
Man.
Hello?
Worry about that one before you worry about what. So anyway, y'all, super excited. We're definitely coming back to give you a recap of episode 2. So stay with us. Leave some comments. Let us know what you're thinking about it. And we'll see you for episode 2.